leaders, so we need to pray really for health and strength for him to continue leading that country. That is good. The affiliates, we mentioned a bunch of these countries. So this kind of the range for I always call it, because sometimes they're like, these are all training centers. No, they're not. Some of them are locations from a person dreaming about a training center all the way to having a training center. So we have the full range. And only because Trinity is sitting here, I was like, one of the dreamer countries was Norway for many years. He is a New Zealand guy, but he is in Norway now. He's stuck because he got married to a Norwegian and is super blessed by that. But there was a graduate that I studied with, Erlend Hardang. He is there now for the last 10 years. And always praying for, hey, we need more guys. Because as you look at the affiliates, the one thing that is still missing everywhere is manpower. And really the right guys. So maybe, Christian, again, by not looking at those, and I don't want you to be tempted to talk to about number 14, Turkey, with your secret passion. Let's talk a little bit about the Scandinavian countries or the Northern European countries. But
what is with Saudi Arabia?
No. We're not going to Middle East. Yeah, okay. That stays over there. But yeah, talk a little bit about that and maybe land on Macedonia.
Yeah. Okay, the Scandinavian countries, there's a lot developing, but you have to understand most of the countries are, they have not so many people living there, really. I mean, Finland is saying 3.5 million, and the country is huge. And there's also a lot of winter. And also Norway, that means, they don't travel like we do. We just drive over to meet somebody. That's not happening. So they have to learn and develop a new kind of system for training, and that's usually mostly in the summer and otherwise online. But all of them, we have all contacts to each country of them to them, and there are incredible people there. And yes, they need more manpower there, but they have to develop their own manpower, because it's not easy for some American go into the different countries and learn the language and the culture and understand the Christian culture from the past, because they have a lot of history, a lot of those countries. But you wanted me to talk about Macedonia?
Yeah, no. Let's stay. Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about Macedonia, but let's stay there real quick. Just again, to give some context, they're all faithful countries.
Yes.
There's a lot of men faithfully plowing the ground, but it's just again finding the right guys, getting them trained. And that's why you kind of constantly, even in Denmark, I mean, I'm thinking of Mika, all these guys that are these younger guys that got trained and come with a passion, they realize it's really hard because there are really not many people, like-minded men, trained men, and you just, the few men that you have, you don't want to send away. That's why Erlend is waiting for Trinity, and he is under no circumstance allowed to stay any day longer. Otherwise, I will get my German out. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, he's so excited to have Trinity back, because that will be like a game changer. So when you come back to Impact in 3, 4, 5 years, we will talk about Norway being a pre-candidate or a candidate. So it's like huge developments, because we need the guys in these countries. And I'm going to Finland back real quick with Miska, our bearded dear brother. And he's just so faithful, but it's so hard.
Viking.
Yeah, he's exactly. Yeah.
Well, anyway,
I'm not sure.
Years ago, Cheryl and I visited his church, 12 people, and members, 7 members. Today, they have 100 of Finnish and international people on the Sunday in the church. It's unbelievable. And he never complains. He never complains, because financially they are very challenged. Finland is one of the most expensive countries in Europe. And they are just challenged because they have 5 kids, 5 boys, and they eat everything off the table. Everything. But it's fun to be there. We just sent over a couple of guys from our church to buy a kitchen and to build a kitchen for them for Christmas. So
yeah, I need to jump in there, because this is really critical. Because when you remember the 9 schools, all of these schools here, the 17 that you look at, are a result out of the 9 schools. Does it make sense? All of them have been affected by the 9 member schools and their commitment. Even taking 8, let's go for 8 because French Canada is another beneficiary of these schools. I remember when we bought a freezer for Finland, and you're like, why do they need a freezer? Well, it's another story. But all of these countries really that you see, if you go down the list, have been blessed by the member schools and their faithfulness, and then of course also, spoiler for the next session, by the MacArthur ministries and their growing ministries and their growing resources to help these countries to grow and develop. And by God's grace and His timing, He will create these schools to bless the churches. So that's what we're here, and it's exciting to see according to God's perfect timeline, because we can all have the German structure and German order. It doesn't make anything if the Lord has different plans. Anyway, you want to come to the chocolate? I know you're nervous.
But I thought, we have to ask questions.
Exactly. Let's do this. By not going to Macedonia and to another rabbit trail, because the Balkans, we talked a little bit about it. A lot is happening. More stories. Any questions from your side? And remember, if you ask a question, you get a chocolate. So the hands are up. No, I'm kidding. But any questions about Europe?
We have actually, yes.